What's up, folks? Michael here, Shot City Yacker, and today gonna do a special video. I'm here at Lake Michigan Angler. It's one of the, in my opinion, only spots to come get your salmon gear, Great Lakes fishing stuff here in the Illinois, lower Wisconsin area. And I got my buddy here, Rob Wendel, works here at the shop. What he's kind enough to do now is to actually walk through and show you some of the must-have lures, setups to get out on Lake Michigan to catch salmon species and trout and all that stuff. So I'm going to turn it over to him to go through each one of these setups and how to fish them. You know, some of the must-have colors to get you started. And you can get really deep into the game. There's so many different colors, different kind of techniques. We're going to just cover some of the basic ones, especially specifically for kayak fishing, which he's excellent at on the Great Lakes here in Lake Michigan. So let's go ahead and get started with that right now.
Alright guys, hey, I'm Rob Wendel, and I'm a Hobie fishing team member. I'm going to go over some of the tackle that I use on Lake Michigan, some of the basic setups or basic, few lures that you really need. Right here we're starting with spoons. These are Michigan Stinger spoons. I like them a lot. They're really speed tolerant, so they're good for fishing in the kayak. And these are just some of the basic colors. There's a million different colors out there, but if you have these five, you're pretty well set. You've got a blue dolphin, caramel dolphin, Hud Special, green dolphin, and a Kevorkian. If you have those five spoons, you can catch some fish. All you need to do is run them 30 or 50 feet back behind torpedo weight like this right here. You can put them on a lead core rod, a diver, whatever you want. They're easy to use. There's nothing to it. Next thing right here, a little more complicated but still very effective. This is a flasher and fly. This happens to be a white Pro Patrol flasher. You can't go wrong with white. And then right here, this is a bullfrog Howie fly. That's one of the best colors right there. Your leader here, this is 40-pound line, 40-pound fluorocarbon, and it's basically 3 times the length of the dodger to get the right action. So you just wrap that line around there 3 times, and then you can tie it off. So it's about 24 inches. And that 3 times the dodger, that's what I use, or the flasher here, that's what I use for most of my dodgers and flashers, almost all of them. So that's 3 times around. Those, again, I primarily run them off the torpedo divers here. You want to get them down deep. I don't like them for fishing shallow, but deeper water pretty well. And then this right here, this is a fire orange dodger for cohos. It's probably the #1 coho setup right here. Again, we've got a fly, 40-pound fluorocarbon, and this is, again, 3 times the length of the dodger. This has got a little different action than the flasher. The flasher makes big circles like that in the water. This dodger is going to be more like this in the water. It attracts, what they do is, dodger or flasher, they attract the fish from far away. They can see these things from really far away in the water. And they add action to the fly. So when the fish comes up, they'll see this, and then they see the fly coming through the water like that behind them, they bite the fly. You can run this anywhere in the water column, but it's typically, the top 30 feet is where this one really shines. You can run it on torpedoes, lead core, whatever you want. It'll work pretty well. If you have these setups for fishing on Lake Michigan, you're going to catch some fish. So this is my #1 rig for just getting my baits down deep. This is called a torpedo diver. It's just a big, heavy weight. This is 12 ounces. It's called a CUDA, which is the name of the size for it. You can make it directional if you want by bending the fin. I usually just leave them straight though. They're pretty cool because they go almost straight down or close to it as you're going to get, and they don't add a lot of drag, whereas divers like dipsy divers are really hard to paddle or pedal dragging behind the boat. So these get down super deep without much drag, and you can put as much line behind them as you want. So what I typically like to do when I'm running a spoon is run 40 or 50 feet of line behind the diver, and when I run a flasher, more like 10 feet behind the diver, and keep them staggered like that. This right here is a release. The way I have this set up is the line from my rod will go through this release, and will also go through this clip right here, this snap. When a fish hits, it'll pull the line out of the release, and then the weight will slide down the line to a swivel and a bead on that snap. Alright, so this is my lead core rod and reel right here. What lead core is actually basically a really long skinny weight. So you have lead that's inside of some Dacron fishing line, and that lead will bring the line down, make it sink in the water while you're trolling. And it's metered, it changes color every 10 yards, and for every 10 yards of line out, for every color, it should sink between 4 and 5 feet. So you know how deep approximately you're getting. Now it changes depending on your speed and the lure, but you're going to be a rough estimate of where your bait is in the water. So if you want to get 20 feet down, you can let about 4 or 5 colors down depending on your lure, and it's going to get down. The nice thing about this is it adds almost no drag, so it's really easy to paddle behind. You won't even know it's there. It's not quite as precise as using a torpedo diver, and it takes a lot more line to achieve your depth, but it's a good addition. You know, you can run this in addition to torpedoes without getting them tangled, because this is going to be so much further away from those other baits. And what it also does is it has its own action in the water. It kind of waves around and goes all over the place, and the fish really seem to like that action that it gives to the baits. So this is a must-have for most Lake Michigan fishermen right here. So on this reel I have 10 colors of lead. Underneath it is 200 yards of Power Pro as my backing, and then I have about 25 feet of 20-pound leader that goes to my bait. So this is my torpedo rod setup. This is actually a Penn Warfare 15, the line counter. It's very important to have the line counter to keep track of how much line you have in the water. And I have it on an 8-foot medium rod. Nothing too special, just heavy enough to handle these big weights. At the end of it, though, I have a bead and a swivel. That's going to stop my weight from going down to the lure. And then at the end of that, at the end of my leader, which is about 6 feet of 20-pound fluorocarbon, I have a snap swivel to go to my lure. That's it. It's a pretty simple setup.
All right, guys, there you have it. Quick breakdown of some of the essential lures, setups, colors, rigging to get you out in the water to catch some salmon out here on Lake Michigan, or for that matter in the Great Lakes in general. Rob, thank you so much for taking the time out to do this. Shop's been busy today. We've had to wait literally for like 30 minutes for people coming in and out to do this. And here's what we're going to do. Rob can actually put together a starter kit, like a starter kit of a collection of these, right, Rob?
Yep, whatever you want. I put together just a basic starter kit of salmon gear for you
to get you out there, weights, some of these spoons and the flasher flies, all the like an essential setup. I'll link all the stuff below in the description to reach Rob. Phone number for the shop here. Call him up. Tell him you want the Lake Michigan special. We'll just call it that. And he'll get you rigged up, ship it out to you wherever you are. He can ship it. Hopefully this helps you get on some fish. If you get out into Lake Michigan, as always, wear your PFD, have a radio. I always say go out with a buddy, unless you know you're really that confident in yourself or you're in the harbors. Any other safety tips, Rob?
Just buddy system and be smart, watch the weather.
Absolutely. Thanks again for watching, y'all. Subscribe, like. Hopefully this helps. Talk to y'all later. Peace.